You know, we often think we know these famous biblical stories inside and out. But what if I told you that just a couple of key insights from a brilliant commentator could flip the whole thing on its head? Today, we're diving into one of those stories to see how a legendary scholar named Rashi basically acts like a detective, unlocking these hidden meanings that, honestly, change everything.
And really, it all comes down to this one question. We're going to follow the clues in the text, almost like a whodunit, and see how one person's take on a couple of key phrases can turn a pretty straightforward story into this high-stakes personal drama. So let's start at the scene of the crime.
All right, so our story kicks off in the land of Gerar. We've got Isaac and his wife Rebekah, and they're the new folks in town. They're trying to make their way in this foreign land that's ruled by a king named Abimelech. And, yeah, right off the bat, there's a huge problem.
So here's the core of the tension. Isaac is terrified. He's afraid that because Rebekah is so beautiful, the local men might kill him to get to her. So he tells this massive lie. He says, "Oh no, she's not my wife. She's my sister." This creates this incredibly fragile situation where, any little slip-up could be a total disaster. They're living this lie day in and day out. Now, this whole shaky deception actually holds up for a little while. But then comes the moment that changes everything. And it all happens because the king just happens to be looking out his window at exactly the right, or well, maybe the wrong moment.
So the text says he saw Isaac fondling Rebekah. Now that's an interesting word choice, isn't it? Fondling. It feels a little vague. I mean, it could be anything from just holding hands to a playful hug. But whatever it was enough for the king to go, wait a minute. Something here is very, very wrong.
And this, right here, this is our first major clue. What did King Abimelech actually see from that window? Was it just a public display of affection that a brother and sister definitely wouldn't share? Or was it something more? The answer to this question completely changes the entire mood of the story.
Okay, so to crack this mystery, we're going to bring in our textual detective, the 11th century commentator known as Rashi. This guy had an incredible gift for cutting right to the heart of the text, often pulling out this hidden drama that was simmering just beneath the surface.
The original Hebrew word used in the text here is metzehek. Now, what's fascinating is that this word is connected to Isaac's own name, Yitzhak, and it can mean all sorts of things, laughing, playing, joking, but it can also have a much more intimate meaning. And that's exactly where Rashi puts his magnifying glass. And here's where it gets really interesting. Look at this contrast. Rashi just slices right through all that ambiguity. He says, plain and simple, Abimelech didn't see them just playing around. Nope, he saw them engaged in the most intimate act a husband and wife can share.
And boom, this explains everything. This is why the king was so absolutely certain. He didn't just have a hunch, he had undeniable eyewitness proof. This wasn't some public gesture that he might have misinterpreted. No, this was a private moment that he accidentally saw. The deception wasn't just unraveling, it was completely blown apart.
So as you can imagine, this discovery leads immediately to a huge confrontation. Abimelech is furious. He calls Isaac in, he knows he's been lied to, and he realizes just how incredibly close his entire kingdom came to a major, major disaster. Now listen closely to how the king phrases his accusation. He says, "One of the people almost sinned with Rebekah." This phrase, "one of the people," it sounds so general, right? Like he's just talking about any random guy off the street. But just like our last clue, there is way more going on here than meets the eye.
So that brings us to our second big mystery. Who is this anonymous person? Who is this one of the people who came so close to disaster? Is Abimelech just talking hypothetically about some random citizen? Or is he talking about someone specific? And here it is. This is the biggest twist in the whole story. And again, it's Rashi who reveals it. He explains that the Hebrew phrase here doesn't just mean any one of the people. It means the one, the most important one, the one singled out from everybody else. And who would that be? The king. Abimelech was talking about himself. This changes everything. All of a sudden, the king's anger isn't just about being lied to by a foreigner. It's deeply, deeply personal. He himself had considered taking Rebekah into his own household, believing she was an unmarried woman. Isaac's lie almost led him, the king, into a catastrophic personal and national sin. The stakes just got intensely personal. So, okay, let's just step back and think about what we've just uncovered. By looking closer at just two little phrases, with Rashi as our guide,
a simple story about a lie has turned into this incredibly tense psychological drama.
What this really shows us is that commentary isn't just some dry academic thing. It's the key that unlocks the whole story. Rashi clarifies the evidence, what the king saw, and then he reveals the intensely personal stakes by identifying the potential culprit as the king himself. And just like that, we're not just passively reading a story anymore, we're actively investigating a near catastrophe, feeling the tension that was hiding there the whole time.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. I mean, if a story this familiar can hold such incredible hidden depths, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets, what other human dramas are just waiting to be discovered in the stories we are so sure we already know?